basically where I will give you a category of some sort, and I will be thinking of an answer in that category, like a number. You have to think of an answer, and if you get the same one as me, you get to go to sleep. So, the ones at the beginning are definitely really difficult, but this one I kind of intermixed like some easier and harder ones throughout, rather than doing it like hard to easy. So yeah, there are 100 questions, and once you get one right, you get to go to sleep. So let's get started. You can let me know how many you got, or which one you got first, or however you want to play. So question number 1 is going to be pretty difficult. I want you to think of any number between 1 and 1,000. Any number between 1 and 1,000. Which one do you think I'm thinking of? 3, 2, 1. I am thinking of 624. If you said 624, then you can go to sleep early tonight. Question number 2, I want you to think of any city in the world. Any city in the world. In 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of Sydney, Australia. If you also said Sydney, Australia, then you can go to sleep. Question number 3. I want you to think of any song. A song. A popular song. Which one do you think I am thinking of? 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of Thriller by Michael Jackson. If you said Thriller, you can go to sleep. Question number 4. I want you to think of any animal. Any animal. What do you think I'm thinking of? 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of a platypus. If you said platypus, you can go to sleep. Question number 5. I want you to think of a country. Any country of the world. 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of Ethiopia. If you said Ethiopia, you can go to sleep. Question number 6. I now want you to think of a number between 1 and 50. Much easier. Easiest one so far. Let's see if you can go to sleep on number 6. Number between 1 and 50. 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of 21. If you said 21, you can go to sleep. Question number 7. I would like you to think of a 6-letter word. Any 6-letter word. 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of the word bubble. Bubble is actually my favorite word. So if you thought bubble, you can go to sleep. Question number 8. I want you to think of any dessert. A dessert. Which dessert am I thinking of? 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of creme brulee. If you Question 11. I want you to think of a TV show. Any TV show. Three, two, one. I'm thinking of New Girl. If you thought New Girl, you can go to sleep. Question number 12. I want you to think of a pasta shape. Any pasta shape. Three, two, one. I'm thinking of elbows or macaroni noodles. Or hardly, as my dad calls them. Question number 13. I want you to think of a 5-letter word. Any 5-letter word. Three, two, one. I'm thinking of the word apple. If you thought of apple, then you can go to sleep. Question 14. I want you to think of an occupation. Any occupation or job. Three, two, one. I'm thinking of an astronaut. If you thought astronaut, then you can go to sleep. Question 15. I want you to think of a kind of cheese. Any kind of cheese. Three, two, one. I am thinking of provolone. Provolone cheese. It's actually probably my least favorite, but if you thought of provolone, you can go to sleep. Question number 16. I now want you to think of a number between 1 and 500. Kind of gone back up in difficulty. A number between 1 and 500. Three, two, one. I am thinking of 397. If you thought 397, then you can go to sleep. Question number 17. I want you to think of an animated movie. Any animated movie. Animated movie. Three, two, one. I am thinking of Finding Nemo. If you thought Finding Nemo, then you can go to sleep. Question 18. I now want you to think of a capital city. Any capital city in the world. Capital city. Three, two, one. I'm thinking of Beijing. If you thought Beijing, then you may go to sleep. Question number 19. I want you to think of a 4-letter word. A 4-letter word. Do you have one? Three, two, one. I am thinking of the word lump. Question number 23. I want you to think of a snack. Any snack. Three, two, one. I'm thinking of pretzels. Pretzels. I hate pretzels. They're the only food I won't eat, but that is what I thought of. Question number 24. I now want you to think of a city in the United States. Any city in the US. Three, two, one. I am thinking of Seattle. Seattle, Washington, which is where I was born. Fun fact. Question number 25. I now want you to think of a world language. Any official language spoken in the world. Three, two, one. I'm thinking of Hindi. If you said Hindi, then you can go to sleep. Question number 26. I now want you to think of an ice cream flavor. Any flavor of ice cream. Think of one in three, two, one. I am thinking of mint chocolate chip. Mint chocolate chip. If that's what you said, then you can go to sleep. Question number 27. I now want you to think of a month of the year. Shouldn't be too hard, you only have 12 options. A month of the year. Three, two, one. I'm thinking of April. If you thought of April, you can go to sleep. Question 28. I want you to think of something that is green. Something that is green. The color green. Think of one in three, two, one. I'm thinking of celery. If you thought celery, you can go to sleep. Question number 29. I want you to think of a type of bread. Type of bread. Three, two, one. I am thinking of pita. Pita, one of my favorite kinds of bread. Question number 30. I now want you to think of a country that ends with the letter A. A country ending with A. Three, two, one. I am thinking of Canada. Canada. If that's what you thought, you may go to sleep. Question 31. I now want you to think of a shape. Not a sheep. A shape. I can understand that those sound the same. I'm talking about like a shape. Like a circle. But you can list types of sheep if you would like to, and you probably just won't be correct. Three, two, one. I'm thinking of a cylinder. Question 44. I want you to think of a song with the word love in the title. Song with the word love in the title. Three, two, one. I'm thinking of Love Shack. If you thought Love Shack, you can go to sleep. Number 45. I now want you to think of a country that starts with the letter S. Country starting with S. Three, two, one. I'm thinking of South Korea. If you thought South Korea, you can go to sleep. Question number 46. I want you to think of a dog breed. Any dog breed. Three, two, one. I'm thinking of a corgi. If you said corgi, you can go to sleep. Question 47. I want you to think of a sport. Any sport. Any sport. Three, two, one. I'm thinking of volleyball. Volleyball. Number 48. I want you to think of a day of the week. I'm giving you a chance here to go to bed in the first half hour. Only 7 options. Take this chance or you might be up for a little while. Day of the week. Which day would I be thinking of? 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of Sunday. If you said Sunday, then you can go to sleep. Question 49. I now want you to think of a 4-letter city. 4-letter city name. Three, two, one. I'm thinking of Lima. Lima, Peru. If you thought Lima, you can go to sleep. Number 50. I now want you to think of a 1-word movie title. A 1-word movie. Three, two, one. I'm thinking of Parasite. If you thought Parasite, you can go to sleep. That was a really good movie. Question number 51. I want you to think of something you would find in the kitchen. Anything that you would find in a kitchen. Three, two, 6, I want you to think of a gemstone. Any gemstone. Gemstone. 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of garnet. If you said garnet, you can go to sleep. Garnet is my birthstone. So. Question 57. I want you to think of a country in Europe. In 3, 2, 1. I am thinking of Bulgaria. If you thought Bulgaria, you may go to sleep. Question 58. I want you to think of a number between 1 and 30. 1 and 30. Think of 1 in 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of 17. If you thought 17, then you can go to sleep. Question number 59. I want you to think of a world monument. Any famous world monument. Monument. 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of Christ the Redeemer in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Question number 60. I want you to think of a color of the rainbow. Color of the rainbow. 3, 2, 1. I am thinking of yellow. If you thought of yellow, then you can go to sleep. Question 61. I now want you to think of a vegetable. Any vegetable. Think of 1 in 3, 2, 1. I am thinking of a carrot. If you thought carrot, you can go to sleep. Number 62. I want you to think of a 5-letter city. A city name that has 5 letters. In 3, 2, 1. I am thinking of Seoul. Seoul, South Korea. Number 63. I want you to think of something that is black. Something that is black. Black, black. 3, 2, 1. I am thinking of obsidian. If you thought obsidian, you may go to sleep. Number 64. I want you to think of a planet. One of the planets. 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of Mercury. Question number 66. I now want you to think of a word that starts and ends with R. Starts and ends with R. R. You think of one in 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of the word regular. If you thought regular, then you can go to sleep. Number 67. I now want you to think of a state of the U.S. One of the U.S. states. Think of 1, 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of Hawaii. If you thought Hawaii, you may go to sleep. Number 68. I want you to think of a type of flower. Type of flower. Like Flower. Not like Flour. Think one in 3, 2, 1. I am thinking of a daisy. If you thought daisy, you can go to sleep. Number 69. I want you to think of a type of bird. Any bird. Which one are you thinking? 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of a flamingo. If you thought flamingo, you can go to sleep. Number 70. I am now thinking of a style of dance. A type of dance. What type of dance? Type of dance. In 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of the salsa. If you thought salsa, you can go to sleep. Number 71. I now want you to think of a country that starts with M. 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 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of Monaco. If you thought Monaco, then you can go to sleep. Question number 72. I now want you to think of a sport that requires a ball. Any kind of ball. Think of 1, 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of rugby. If you thought rugby, you can go to sleep. Number 73. I want you to think of zodiac signs. Go on. 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of Scorpio. If you said Scorpio, then you can go to sleep. Question number 76. I want you to think of an island country. Any island country. Three, two, one. I'm thinking of Jamaica. If you thought Jamaica, then you can go to sleep. Question number 77. I want you to think of a sea creature. Any sea creature. Think of a sea creature. Sea creature. 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of a seahorse. Number 78. I now want you to think of a kind of nut. Any kind of nut. Think of one. 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of a pecan or pecan, whatever floats your boat. If you said pecan, then you can go to sleep. Number 79. I want you to think of a country in Asia. Any Asian country. Asian country. 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking Brazil. If you said Brazil, you can go to sleep. Number 94, I want you to think of a type of tree. Type of tree. Tree. 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of a maple tree. Number 95. I want you to think of a number between 1 and 20. 1 and 20. 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of 7. If you said 7, you can go to sleep. Number 96, I want you to think of a continent. One of the continents. 3, 2, 1. I'm thinking of Antarctica. Number 97. I want you information on this video because I think they're fun, and this is what, like, my fourth part of it, so I'm kind of running out of like ways to do the exact same thing. But if you guys want to see something that's like similar but a little bit different, then I could do that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. So hope you liked these 100 questions. Give me some ideas for questions in the future if you would like this series